We're joined by Dr. Okey Ikechukwu, who is a leadership and governance consultant, as well as a member of the media committee of Jonathan Presidential Campaign Organization. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
We're speaking about this preparations for the elections, and INEC eventually held that meeting amongst themselves where they did say, well, yes, we've seen the field tests this time, and the results, not bad. We're determined to give Nigerians a free, fair, and credible elections, although the PDP still has issues with the use of the card readers. How would you say that the field tests, from what you saw, played out?
No, beginning with INEC's statement, I think we make a distinction between INEC's declaration and what appears believable on the ground. A month ago, INEC said it was ready for elections. The APC agreed that INEC was ready for elections. But as of 2 days ago, PVCs that were not yet produced were being sent to the states. So, conclusion number one, INEC was not ready for elections at the time it assured Nigerians that it was ready for elections 4 weeks ago.
Owing to the PVCs that just arrived from what you said?
Yes, that's one. Two, part of what ought to have taken place before the February 14th elections would have included the testing of the machines. It wasn't even slated to happen.
No, but the chairman said that they had done simulations, they had tested it, and many of those tests that they conducted were successful.
That's before 14th of February. Now, the tests are for Nigerians, not for INEC. And this information, except for the fact that INEC said it, nobody knew. And if indeed they did test it at the time and confirmed that it's working, how come we have the current results? Namely, they did a test in 12 states. That's about 33% of Nigeria. In one state, it was a complete disaster, which means that if they had held the elections, that state actually wouldn't have been able to vote. That's a point. The local government where they got nothing. And the overall result points to, I think, 41% failure rate by their own report of the machines. And that's in 33% of the states that will take part in the elections.
Let me understand that failure rate. I'm trying to understand it, because they talked about, first of all, verifying the permanent voter cards presented by voters at the polling unit, one of the objectives. And the second one is biometrically authenticating the person who presents the PVC at the polling unit to ensure that he or her is the legitimate holder.
And that also the card is property of INEC, produced and given by INEC.
So are you saying that 41% is
on the second
context of the whole?
On the second element of authentication.
Okay,
that's the report. If it's incorrect, that's a different matter.
Okay, because they say 59% of those who turned out for that demonstration had their fingerprints successfully authenticated.
Which means, I was even being nice about it, which means 49% did not have their fingerprints authenticated. Now look at the scenario.
39, I believe.
59?
Yes.
39, you're correct. But they said 41 in the official report, so still above 30. Picture a situation where you come to a polling booth, only 100 people turned up, and 30 couldn't be authenticated.
But then you can vote.
Precisely. The whole point of the, what do you call it, the new method is to eliminate discretion and the possibility of abuse. Now, I come, my name is not there, so you give me an incident form to fill, right? I fill it and vote.
No, not that your name is not there.
No, I'm not validated. So it's a claim that my name is there. I have a PVC. Your
PVC is validated, because if the PVC is validated, at least INEC knows that it registered you.
Yeah, but it's my biometrics that will confirm. That's the basis for the authentication.
That so, you are for that polling unit.
But my biometrics score negative, and so I fill an incident form, and then I'm allowed to vote. And results are to be the business of the PVC and the machine is to have a foolproof system. Namely, you're done with it, so the outcome is immediately sent to a collation center. But there's now this second leg of the entire proceedings that has to be handled manually by you and I, and which allows us, in fact, to exercise discretion, sometimes not in the interest of the law or in the interest of electoral transparency. That is the concern. The part that you fill an incident form, you vote, these are manual things, these are materials that will have to be carried. I functioned as a presiding officer in an election here in Lagos. It was even the option A4, where you see people queue up left, right, and you count them. Everybody will shout 1, 2, 3 with you to the end. Now it came to filling the results. It was SSDP and NRC. So you had the SDP representative, you had the NRC representative to make sure that what you've counted is what you write. Now one of the parties, I don't want to mention the name, it was on Lagos Island, had already worked out an agreement locally with the representative. So the representative of one party had agreed with the opposite, those they were supposed to be contesting against, to seed the votes, because inside that booth, only my signature and their endorsement will validate what comes out, not minding what was counted that people saw. Now, the current challenge arising from the problem of authentication allows electoral officers to manage an element of this that could allow room for mischievous exercise of discretion.
Even if you have all the party agents who are on that ballot, if they've got their candidates present at the polling unit, you have security present at the polling unit, you have INEC officials, either the ad hoc or the main staff, present at the polling unit, so you think all of these checks may not be enough.
No, the point I'm making is that there's already room for it. These checks have always been there when elections are rigged. So, assuming I'm in party A or party B or C, and I plan to rig with my people, when you say electoral officers, in that election I was an electoral official, but I wasn't a staff of INEC. The electoral officials you're talking about are core members who, this time, unlike in the past, actually, that's where INEC has done well, trained them well. The point is that the handling of that extra material of voters, in this case, an uncomfortably high number, allows room for mischief to come from there. Because if you're saying fill incident form, by the time the incident forms are not going to correct biometrics. Anticipatory rigging could occur if those incident forms are filled in advance and packed. And now we find out that in a place where there are 250 people that should vote
in advance, does that mean that they know that their fingerprints will not be authenticated by the machine?
You just fill some and leave the blank spaces.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
a considerable
if we say that the incident forms, I mean, can be filled in advance and
now remember we are speculating.
Oh yes, if we say that is a possibility, because whatever it is the system is, there's always room for some form of manipulation, as it were, and INEC must be careful to ensure that it doesn't let that discourage it. We also know that cards must be authenticated and must belong to that particular polling unit. If there's anything the card readers can do, they can at least tell that when you put your card on it, before you even try to authenticate it with your fingerprint. So doesn't that at least give some amount of, let's say, security to the fact that at least this person was registered by INEC? Recall also that in Rivers and Osun, there were cases of people cloning cards and attempting to use those cards to,
and they were caught.
to vote.
No, but the point I'm making is that establishing that this card belongs to me and was given to me by INEC is different from me being able to vote if my biometrics do not register. And having voted without using that card, I have no guarantee about what will happen to my vote, because it's now left in the hands of the officer in the polling booth, not even in the collation center, not anywhere else. And you're talking about thousands.